Live, up and down the coast, from the beaches to the valleys. At 6:30, this is KEYT News Channel 3, where the news comes first.
A 7.1 earthquake rocks central Mexico, about 80 miles east of Mexico City. At least 119 people are dead, millions more without power tonight. Our top story at 6:30, the desperate attempts to reach loved ones in the quake zone. Welcome back, everybody. I'm CJ Ward.
And I'm Beth Farnsworth. Local parishioners are praying for people rocked by today's earthquake in central Mexico.
And News Channel 3's Vicki Nguyen joins us live from Our Lady of Guadalupe in Santa Barbara. And Vicki, you spoke with a woman who is trying to reach her family in Mexico tonight.
Yeah, Maria Estrada is anxious to find out if her children, her sister and brother, all working in downtown Mexico City, are alive. She has been trying to reach them, and she actually spoke to them last night and they were okay, but since then she hasn't heard from them. Maria and many people have not been able to connect with their family and friends. Electricity and cell phone service was interrupted in many areas.
Entran las llamadas. No entran las llamadas.
I haven't been able to reach them. They were supposed to be off of work at 4:30. I don't know if they're okay or not okay. Our Lady of Guadalupe parishioners dedicated their 5:30 Mass to the victims of today's earthquake. More than 100 people have been confirmed dead. Now, we spoke to Father Pedro Lopez out here earlier, and he says even he has family and friends in the area as well. And he told us that the best thing people can do right now is pray and just have their thoughts for the people who are affected by this major earthquake. We spoke to him, and we'll have his interview tonight at 11. Reporting live in Santa Barbara, Vicki Nguyen, News Channel 3.
All right, thank you so much, Vicki. And we will have much more on the Mexican quake tonight at 11. And you can always find the latest updates and any aftershock information and damage as well on air or online at KEYT.com. President Donald Trump, showcased his America First policy during a spirited 41-minute address to the United Nations General Assembly. The president called on world leaders to isolate North Korea's Kim Jong-un and discourage his nuclear weapons ambitions. President Trump also rebuked Iran for supporting terrorism and called the international agreement to freeze its nuclear program a one-sided deal.
Frankly, that deal is an embarrassment to the United States, and I don't think you've heard the last of it, believe me.
The president did not mention Russia or its president, Vladimir Putin, who is not at the UN. After President Trump's blunt UN speech today, U.S. officials are considering plans to shoot down North Korean missiles, even if those missiles are not a direct threat to the U.S. or its allies. One senior defense official says that consideration remains very real, given that 2 North Korean missiles recently launched over northern Japan. They also said that the U.S. would protect South Korea if attacked.
And now to a shooting at Georgia Tech University. Violent protests broke out there last night following a vigil for a student shot and killed by university police.
No justice, no peace! Killed our friend!
Now, the night began peacefully as hundreds gathered to light candles and grieve for Scout Schultz. But it soon descended into chaos. Anti-police protesters disrupted the vigil and began screaming at police officers. A smoke bomb launched into a police car ignited that vehicle into flames and then set off ammunition inside the car. A university police officer shot and killed 21-year-old Scout Schultz on Saturday. Schultz was an LGBTQ leader on campus.
Definitely preventable if the police had chosen to use non-lethal force. I've seen videos of them doing that to mentally disturb people. Why shoot?
And that's the question.
That's the question. Why shoot?
2 Georgia Tech police officers were hurt. 3 people were arrested. Another impending natural disaster.
Hurricane Maria marches toward Puerto Rico, how the country is preparing for the worst. That's coming up.
And all the latest strength of Maria, how strong she's gotten today, and the potential impacts Puerto Rico will see over the next 24 hours, and a look at our own local forecast. Beautiful out there today, but we are tracking changes. Stay with us.
Live, Beth Farnsworth, CJ Ward, senior reporter John Parliamentary, chief meteorologist Alan Rose, and Mike Clan Sports. This is News Channel 3 at 6:30.
companies are scrambling to turn the lights on as hundreds of thousands of homes are still without electricity. 9 days after Hurricane Irma hit the state, the governor says about 2% of customers are waiting for power. The utilities say that they've made improvements to their response time and that crews continue to make progress.
Hurricane Irma is slamming the Caribbean tonight as a powerful Category 5 storm. The 175-mile-per-hour winds made landfall last night on the island of Dominica and is blamed for at least one death and 2 others are missing. It's now on course for the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. All right, Alan Rose obviously tracking that storm for us. What's the latest on that storm?
Well, I got to say, we haven't seen a whole lot of video coming out of Guadalupe or Dominica. And looking at that video, that is not when the storm was at its most intense cycle. But, probably in the evening hours when the storm moved in, most of the destruction there occurred early this morning. St. Croix's next, about to make landfall there. It's actually wobbling a little farther north. Remember I said it might stay south, might go overhead. The thing is, if the eye doesn't go directly overhead St. Croix, but you get the outer band of the eye wall, and the eye wall actually stays over land for that whole length of diameter, that can be worse.
Yeah.
So if you don't see the eye, but you get the eye wall for an hour or two, that's bad.
The power bands, those intense power bands.
Exactly, and they're not very wide, but if you get it from west to east as opposed to just that little sliver on one side, the little sliver on the other, again, much worse. So I think that's what St. Croix is going to experience here in a matter of hours. The storm center, the eye, about 50 miles southeast of St. Croix. Maria, a monster storm, not as large as Irma, but monster in terms of strength. This is a Cat 5, very dangerous, already deadly. Wind sustained at 175. It will cross over Puerto Rico, maybe a little southwest of San Juan, but keep in mind, folks, the strongest quadrant of a hurricane is always the northeast side. So if it moves inland here, San Juan's located here, they would be in the most destructive part of that hurricane, and it could be catastrophic for the largest city on the island. Then it moves out to sea, sort of skirts by the Turks and Caicos. Latest models, including the American and the European, both keep it offshore, and we hope that is the case because places like Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas certainly don't need to see any more impacts from a storm of this magnitude. Here's the zoomed-in satellite and radar. You can start to see this is one eye wall right here. Let me show you as we get to the stopping point. That's one eye wall, and then the inner eye wall is the strongest one. Both eye walls bring in hurricane force conditions, but that inner one is the most intense part of the storm. Here's what we expect to see in terms of the threats to St. Croix and Puerto Rico. I think we'll see powerful wind gusts of up to 200 miles per hour. Storm surge could be 6 to 9 feet, and rainfall amounts which could maybe top 10 to 18 inches, possibly more in some of those hillier areas. Again, if you get into the mountainous terrain, that causes air to rise and usually squeezes out more rain. Then you get the mudslides, the landslides, and devastation can be quite catastrophic. Santa Barbara today, 76 degrees, 73 in Santa Ynez, and 78 in Ojai. So again, we transition from the tropics and one of those major hurricanes back to our weather, which is beautiful. It's nice and pleasant out there tonight. 60s and 70s. A little windy in some spots, including the South Coast, Pass and Canyon areas. But for us, looks like tomorrow's going to be another great day. Probably a little sunnier than what we saw this afternoon. And then late this week, we get a dip in the jet stream. Pretty cool weather system is going to move in from the Pacific Northwest, and this brings in some cooler than average temperatures. In fact, Valley's probably about 10 to 20 degrees below average by your Thursday and Friday. Tomorrow, as we look at the futurecast, areas of clouds and fog, more than likely Ventura County tomorrow morning, but we could see some patchy fog elsewhere. Overall, though, Wednesday is a brighter day. Thursday sort of transitions us back to that morning gray afternoon sun pattern, and that is when temperatures will begin to cool down. Tomorrow, we should be up a few degrees, 78 Santa Barbara, 80 in Montecito, 75 in Goleta. Some breezes in the afternoon for the Central Coast. Also some sunshine out there. Overall, beautiful day. 77 Santa Maria AG, 75 in Pismo, 82 in San Luis Obispo. And for Ventura County, we'll see some mid-70s by the coast, low 80s around Ojai and Santa Paula. If you have some sailing plans or boating plans tomorrow, it's great to do that here on our beautiful coastline. The variable winds around 10 to 15 knots and a west swell at 4 to 6 feet. So probably some afternoon chop and a building swell, which is some exciting news for our surfers. Temperatures do cool down in Santa Barbara, low to mid-70s Thursday, Friday, and then we start the warm-up through the weekend as we transition away from this trough and to a powerful ridge of high pressure. That's going to bring some heat fact, by next Tuesday, could see some upper 80s in Santa Barbara. Santa Ynez goes from 75 on Thursday to the 90s as we look at next week. Lompoc area, low to mid 70s right on through the start of the weekend, and then some 80s to follow. And for Ventura, drizzle possible Thursday with the deep marine layer. Could even see that tomorrow. So a little taste of fall the next few days, and then a little taste of summer as we transition to fall.
Okay.
A little bit of everything here.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Alan.
Thank you. Well, who is the most dangerous celeb online?
Jane King is at the NASDAQ with that story and more coming up in tonight's Business Update. And in sports, some local students are hard at work well before the first bell rings for school. Mike Klan tells us about a new running club that's coming up.
Nurses mishandling newborn babies for entertainment now face what is called military justice. Here's a look at some of the social media posts. You see it right there. Staff at a naval hospital in Jacksonville are handling a newborn baby in an inappropriate manner. Another photo shows a staff member making an obscene gesture at an infant. It's captioned, "How I currently feel about these mini Satans." The Naval Hospital released a statement that reads, in part, "We have identified the staff members involved. They have been removed from patient care and will be handled by the legal system and military justice."
Kids are on the move at Montecito Union School this year. Twice a week, students arrive before classes to participate in the Mustangs Mileage Club. Dozens of students, along with some of their families, have put on their running shoes at Montecito Union School.
I like that so many people do it and that it really exercises your body.
On Tuesday and Friday mornings, students start running at 7:45, well ahead of the 8:30 bell.
It's a great start for students. Get exercise and start their day off running, and then they head into class with a great, refreshing outlook to set up a successful day.
20! After each lap, students scan their card, which keeps track of their lap total. Kids will eventually earn prizes at the end of the year, but for now, students are just excited to run for many different reasons.
You get to get your energy out. You also let to hang out with your friends. I have growing pains, and so it helps my growing pains.
Because I like running.
Plenty of parents are either volunteering or running with their students and future Mustangs.
It's awesome. It's a lot of fun. It gets Isla's energy going for the whole day.
We have all these great families and kids, and we weren't sure what to expect, but it's an incredible turnout.
The Mustangs Mileage Club is just a few weeks old, but it appears to be a program that will go the distance. And it's going so well and with so much interest that there is some talk that they might expand it to another day. Well, Bishop Diego High School football remains #1 ranked in this week's CIF Division 6 poll. The 4-0 Cardinals are coming off a thrilling 24-23 win at St. Joseph. The Knights are #8 in Division 5. Bishop is also number 34 in Max Prep's Southern California rankings. That's an all-time best for Bishop. Lompoc, by the way, is number 33 in that poll. That's tops in the 805. The Cards play at Santa Fe Christian in the San Diego area on Saturday afternoon. And that's a look at local sports.
Airlines are finding new ways to tack on fees. If you're trying to bring luggage onto a flight as a carry-on, make sure you check the airline's policy beforehand. Several airlines are charging what critics call a punishment fee. If you have to check your bag at the gate, some airlines will charge you for that. And if you book a basic economy ticket, some airlines will not let you use the overhead bin. That means if your personal items do not fit underneath the seat in front of you, you'll find yourself pulling out your credit card.
The Federal Reserve begins an important policy meeting this week. And who is the most dangerous celeb online? Here's Jane King at the NASDAQ.
The Federal Reserve is getting ready for what some call its most important meeting of the year. The Fed is expected to start unloading the bonds it bought to prop up the economy during the recession. It is not expected to raise interest rates. Now, they start the two-day meeting today. We'll find out the decision tomorrow. Hurricane Maria barreling toward Puerto Rico and is now a Category 5 storm. The storm has already left a trail of destruction on the island of Dominica. Walmart will accept food stamps to order groceries online and pick up at 5 stores in the U.S. The EBT cards coupons cannot be used online, but Walmart will verify the benefits and accept payment when the items are picked up at the store. Walmart offers the EBT option for online grocery pickup at one store in the Houston area and 4 stores near Boise, Idaho. The company said it plans to bring the service to more markets through the holiday season and beyond. Well, this is the most dangerous celebrity to Google is Avril Lavigne. Security company McAfee says Googling her is the most likely to land a virus on your computer. Bruno Mars was second and Carly Rae Jepsen third. From the NASDAQ market site in Times Square, I'm Jane King with your business update.
Well, that explains a lot, doesn't it, when you have teen daughters?
So you're safe if you download Journey.
Oh, well, you're not safe from certain things for sure. Okay, we'll take a look outside real fast. Pretty evening out there. We'll be right back. A Washington State real estate company has a storybook listing.
Now, this Seattle area real estate listing is a fairy tale come true. A cottage inspired by Snow White is up for grabs in Washington. The 4-bedroom cottage is up for sale on 5 wooded acres. It was modeled after the home of the dwarfs in the classic fairy tale. The home features wooden beams, hand-built floors, doors, and stained glass windows. There's even an indoor boulder and huge tree trunks. You think they're apple trees?
Of course they are.
They have to be apple trees. And it's listed for $775,000.
Snow White meets the Flintstones.
Yes.
Kind of, sort of.
Yeah. It does look that way.
It's pretty. It'd be difficult to live there, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the most comfortable place, but
we won't know.
Maybe it's your second home.
Maybe so
That's
for
the
you.
best approach, not for me, but I need the first one. Let's think about it. Look at the forecast. Cooling down a bit late this week. So some beautiful weather.
Sounds good. Thanks. We'll see you back here at 11.